kind of moving on here to looking at trading for a backup five. I mean, um, I think it was last week. I think it was Eric Pincus again. Uh, Pointed out that the Detroit Pistons and Nerlens Noel had moved on, or had mutually agreed, I should say, that a trade would be best for both parties because Noel ended up there in a salary dump uh, after being on the Knicks, and he's just not in the rotation right now. And the Kings were listed amongst some other teams like the Trailblazers, who also appear to be looking for a backup center. Um, that the Kings were part of the group of teams that were asking about him and engaging in talks. And so, kind of thinking about outside options, there are a few, and Nerlens Noel is kind of the first one that pops into mind here, based on that report from last week. I think one of the things that stands out about him is that he was really good as the backup center for the Knicks like 2 years ago. And he got hurt a little bit and kind of fell out of the rotation last year. And I just don't think he's that same player necessarily. But I think, and this is probably the case with all these guys we're going to mention, he would be probably a far better bet as a consistent option. What do you like about Nerlens Noel?
What I like about Nerlens is he kind of reminds me of like a taller Rashawn Holmes. Gets most of his buckets around, in the paint area, and he has a high shooting percentage from what I remember. And he's a good defender. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I know we were talking about Rashawn Holmes. Mike Brown isn't infatuated with shot blocking necessarily, but Nerlens can get those blocks. And defense is defense. He's a good defender. He's a good presence down low. That's what the Kings are really lacking with their backup centers. And yeah, Metu can play straight up defense, but he's very undersized as a center, and it's definitely showing. So Nerlens is also a little more mobile, kind of where Lynn, he has the size, but he's a mismatch nightmare. So I think that's what I like about Noel. He shoots high percentage shots near the basket. He doesn't do too much. Like his shots are under the basket, really. And
Mm-hmm.
then good defender and more mobile than like he's still a big guy, but also mobile. So he won't get terrorized on the mismatches. So I like Noel a lot. It's nice that he's available. I think the Kings should try to go after him. I know there's a couple of teams after him too, and he's not the same player like you said he was a couple of years ago. But if you can get some version of that guy, he'd be better than any of the backups they got right now.
Yeah, he definitely has the best mix for his skill set. Kind of offers a little bit of everything that you're looking for, as you're pointing out there. I think he would be a lot better. It's just like a question of, and this is the case with everything. It's like, what are you going to give up? Um, and I guess I don't know. I mean, like, it's hard to gauge. I don't know what the Kings would have to give up. There's a lot of people. I think you could go ahead on the trade machine, but because Noel, I keep saying Noel. Noel makes like 9.2, 9.3 million. So you're like talking about, like Len and Terrence Davis or something like that with maybe a second rounder or something, or some mix of contracts. I don't know. I'm not 100% claiming to be an expert on predicting trades or shaping out potential trades, but because I'm not really 100% sure what Detroit's looking for there. But as I understand it, Detroit's just kind of looking for maybe, I think it said in the report that they're just looking for a way to get rid of them. They're not looking for extreme value. They just don't want to take on money for next year. So maybe a guy like Trey Lyles gets included in the trade. I don't know. There's a couple. Terrence Davis has an expiring contract. But again, it's like those are guys you kind of want to keep, but you do have to give up something to get something. But Nerlens Noel would be a good option if they can pull it off. I think we can both agree.
100%. Yeah,
And
Noah would be great. behind
Yeah.
Sabonis.
And I guess,
If he can do what he was doing in New York.
or some like a slight variation of it. It's not a huge drop off. Like,
Yeah.
just
Hopefully he's not like Rashawn Holmes in it.
run the floor, be engaged defensively, buy into what they're doing. I'm sure he would. I mean, like, you're sitting on the end of the bench in Detroit, and it's like you get traded to whether it's Portland or Sacramento or something like that. Like, that's probably going to fire you up a little bit, get you really engaged in it. And you know, he's been in the league so long, so he knows what he's doing. He's got he'll figure it out, I'm sure. So I think that would be a good pickup if they could pull it off.